Want to know what a forgotten Black Bay dive watch looks like? Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. It's another episode in a series I like to call Buying at BQ. Yeah. If you are on the lookout for luxury pre-owned watches, BQ have a huge range, not just in variety of brands, but variety in prices. And if, like me, you're always on the lookout for a great luxury watch just underneath the 5,000 bracket, well, literally fill your boots. These episodes are dedicated to finding little gems I think you could be interested in. And today, the brand we're going to take a look at is Tudor. Tudor. Now, back in 2019, this brand could do no wrong.
Riding the Black Bay Stallion.
Yes, the Black Bay 58 was a year old. I think the Blue 58 came out as well. And everybody was looking forward to Bezel World, which I think was the last one. What 58 will they come out with next? I, for one, was looking forward to a GMT 58. Ironic I do this show now. It's Tuesday the 9th of April, and Tudor have finally released a 58 GMT. Coke! A great addition to the 58 lineup.
So rewinding back to
2019, when this Black Bay diver came out, there was a lot of, what the fuck? They've lost it. They've completely lost it. It was huge, bold, sort of looked like a Seiko. And even though you can buy this watch still today, it's sort of been forgotten about. But looking into the history of it made me want to see it in the metal more. In 1967, Tudor made a new dive watch prototype to win a contract with the US Navy. Now, they didn't get it, and the watch was forgotten about. In 2024, is it time we looked a little deeper at this watch and realised Tudor were right in making it all along? Plus, what does the wife think of this watch? Are you, Tudor Big Black Bay, ready? Let's go! So, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The Tudor Black Bay P01. P standing for prototype, and 01, well, they only made one. This is a reimagination of that initial prototype, which is right here. Not much has changed, but you know, if it's a Black Bay, it gets the snowflake hand treatment. Two things come to mind straight away. It's massive, and it looks overly massive because the amount of stainless steel at the above and below the dial is weird. But I've got to be honest, as a thing, as a product, it is very cool. The stainless steel bezel looks phenomenal, and even though we've got a date, this might be my favourite dive watch dial Tudor does. The crown being at 4 o'clock definitely gives me SKX vibes. Obviously, being a big watch, Tudor wanted to make it as comfortable as possible on the wrist, and it being at the 4 o'clock just gives a little bit more articulation with the wrist. The lugs are huge, aren't they? Like Batman's ears. I don't think this is going to look good on me, but I must say, with no beveling whatsoever on the case, the watch being completely brushed or satinized.
This is right up my alley.
This looks like a proper tool watch. This strap seems to be bolted in, and the strap, crikey, what? We got to talk about that later. And first impressions, I don't quite mind it. Quick spec check. I might not like it now. So, case size, 42.5mm in diameter. That's not bad. But lug to lug of 55.7. Ooh, 14.4mm thick, and a lug distance apart 20mm. Anyone that has an under 7-inch wrist probably is not going to go for this, which is really annoying. We've got a lovely box sapphire crystal protecting the dial. The crown is screw in and with a screw down case back. This watch is water resistant to 200 meters. Right, the bezel. Now we have to remember that back in the 60s, Blancpain were the only brand to have a ratcheting bezel. Now the little grip teeth that come out from this stainless steel bezel is not only to give you grip with your fingers, but also a secure grip for this mechanism above. Push it with a little bit of resistance, clicks up, and then you can turn this bezel 60 clicks both ways. The click's not that bad either. Now, even though it does feel like the ceramic ball bearings of my Tudor Black Bay 58, it's not as nice, still very good. There's no backplay whatsoever, but it having a ratchet to it sort of makes this mechanism at the top pointless because the ratchet keeps it in place anyway. Back in the 60s, that prototype would have a frictionless bezel, and so the mechanism sits down on the teeth of the bezel and then you can't move it.
A bit OTT?
Yes, yeah. Looking at this bezel just makes me wish we could have a Black Bay 58 with a stainless steel bezel like this. It would look awesome.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Right, let's move on to the strap. Where do we start? It's a diver that can go 200 meters deep. So why have we got a suede material that is gonna just get ruined in seawater straight away? A very weird articulation. We've got two articulations. One from this little stainless steel bit here that comes out from the lugs, and then the strap part. So in theory, a small wrist could wear this watch. It would look weird, but it can be done. The outside part is suede. The inside part is a rubber texture, and I do love that grip pattern. Looks like the snowflake hands. We've got a stainless steel buckle with the Shield logo. The Shield logo didn't come in till after 68, so it might have been a nice touch if the rose logo was used somewhere on this watch. But saying that, the snowflake hands didn't come until 69, so in that sense it doesn't make sense at all. But still, let's carry on. But I do like the clasp. It's easy to use. The strap is well made, but if this was just the black rubber, it would have looked far better in the press releases. Okay, let's look at the face.
Dial time.
And I've got to be honest, for me, this is probably the best dive watch dial Tudor has done. Now, yes, I'm a big fan of the Tudor Black Bay 58. It's my favourite diver. But my favourite types of divers are military style, no frills. The surface is matte black. I really love these printed minute markers, which make the dial that little bit smaller and does remind me of vintage Rolex Explorer 2s. The lume plots are raised, which makes this dial more dynamic. The depth rating is printed in red, which is a superb touch. And for someone that doesn't like a date window, you know what? I quite like this one because they've matched the date wheel with the patina colouring on the lume. And it just gives this watch a vintage vibe. Just enough not to pee anyone that doesn't like vintage aesthetic or pee anyone off that just loves a modern watch. Hands down, I think this is probably my favourite dive watch dial Tudor does. So we've got lume on the hands, lume on the indices. Now, it being a 12-hour countdown bezel makes me wonder why they would use it for diving. There is no lume pip on the bezel, but still, out of 10, how much does this puppy glow? So yes, considering they've patinaed this lume, we've got a great green vintage glow to it. Marvellous. So powering this absolute beast is an in-house automatic MT5612 and is in fact the same movement that you can find in a Pelagos. 70 hours power reserve, 26 joules. The movement is COSC certified, +4 to -6 seconds a day. The operating of this watch is phenomenal, and I have to be honest, this is the first Tudor I've ever handled where I thought, this feels quite Rolexy. The unwinding of the crown, setting the date, moving the hands, it feels like a Rolex crown. Overall, it's a beautiful engine to handle.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and oh blimey, I can't pull that off. I can try. I love the vibe this watch has given me. Tooliness, military vibes, built to take literally a pounding. A watch a Schwarzenegger or a Stallone would wear in a movie, you know? There is a lot of real estate on the face of the wrist. The dial isn't so big, but it's that lug to lug, isn't it? If they just took it down 3 or 4 millimeters overall and gave you an all rubber strap, I don't think it would have got the hate it did, honestly. But for those that do like a big watch and are a bit tired of the Black Bay range or the Rolex range or any of the luxury Swiss watch brands out there, this is a great watch to buy. So there we go, the P01, the forgotten about Tudor Black Bay. I am surprised how much I like it. I gotta be honest, I dismissed it when it came out in 2019. Didn't even bother reading up about it. I've got to go with the dial first because I just think that is phenomenal. Tudor doing just enough to commemorate this prototype, but also complementing the whole watch itself. I love and don't love the bezel. The look of it is fantastic, and the little flap that sinks into the teeth of the bezel is a great way of stopping the bezel from moving. But it having a ceramic ball bearing ratchet to it sort of makes it pointless. For once, I'm thinking they should have just made it friction. I think the ratchet to it demeans the whole entire watch, but it still looks awesome. You're basically having your cake and eating it. This is a Tudor diver without any bevels, any fancy-wancy parts. So if you are a lover of downright tall watches, the P01 is right up your alley. They've messed up with the strap, didn't they? Why give this watch a suede calf leather thing on the outside? The watch looks like it wants to be in the ocean now.
It's pulling towards the sea as we speak.
Why give it something so contradictory? And why give a reason for someone not to like it? Believe it or not, this watch is still in the Tudor Black Bay catalogue. Now, since 2019, Tudor have gone up at least £1,000. And to buy the P01 new back then, it was £2,700. To buy it now in 2024 is £3,700. Now the watch I've got here from BQ, in beautiful condition, pretty much brand new, they are selling for £2,750. So pretty much the price they were 4 years ago. And remember, it being pre-owned, there's a little bit of wiggle room, isn't there? For me, well, it's another watch I can love from afar. I'm sorry I dismissed it straight away, and I'm glad I've finally got my hands on one. Well done to Tudor at the time for bringing out I don't know, what was a prototype, reimaginated, very much born to dare. Those clever little Tudor robots that make the watches these days. Here it is, my wife's thoughts on the P01 Black Bay. Oh dear, this is absolutely awful. This is a dive watch, isn't it? Why is there a fancy suede strap? Way too much metal and dog ugly. Thankfully, she wasn't talking about me, but okay, she might not like the P01, but let's move on. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Big thanks to BQ for sending this watch in to me. If you fancy this watch or you want to see more of their watches, click in the description below. Click there if you want to join the Mad Watch Collector channel. Get on the Discord, it's so much fun. Want some merch? Of course you do. It's right there somewhere in the description. Really down low this time. Go on, click it down there. But if I've got you for a few more minutes, why don't you click this one? This is, well, just see for yourself, you know. You thought this one was good. This is great. Tudor! Yeah, maybe Tudor, I don't know. But go and have a look at it. Go on, click it. Click it!